Welcome back to the channel. It has been a while, almost a year since I had been here doing any of these oracle readings. If you're a subscriber, you'll notice that this is strange. I already have these cards laid out. The reason for that is that this is the 5th attempt to record this particular reading. I've had some repetitive technical issues with the software that I'm using, and so yeah, I'm gonna try this yet another time. A lot has happened since I last posted a video here on YouTube. I'm not going to get into much of that. I will say there are a number of different videos that I want to post in the future, so you can look for those in the coming weeks. Part of it's specific things that I want to talk about, and some of it's going to be some sort of interview type things where I just have like a little podcast discussion with a few friends in video format. So we'll see how all that goes. So yeah, I received a message from a friend of mine the other day, and she wanted me to do a reading for her. So I said I would, and then I got another message from another friend who also wanted one. So I've got 2 readings I'm going to do. There again, if you're a subscriber, you'll notice this isn't the usual way that I do it. Basically, I'm just going to be turning the cards over and going back through what happened in the original reading. On a side note, while I'm giving myself a moment here to get ready for this, I'm going to post a link to a review of a book that I would certainly recommend any of you checking out, particularly if you're interested in investigating traditional Wicca. I'm not going to go into details about the book. I haven't read it yet, so it's not my review. Someone else wrote the review. However, I've mentioned the author in several of my videos in the past. She's done a lot of videos on her own channel. She writes a lot of blogs on the subject matter. She's well read, and I would advise someone to read the book. I mean, just having read some of her other articles and things like that. So here again, I'm going to post a link. If you're interested, you can check it out. While I'm waiting here, I'm going to take a moment to read something that I wrote just a few days ago. If you've watched some of my older videos, you know that I went through a period of time a few years back where I decided I was going to write a book. I wrote close to 500,000 words, and so far it has not been turned into a book, but it was a really interesting learning experience. Since that time, I wrote another book, talking probably equally the same amount of words, different story, different characters. Therein, neither of them were books, but this is, I'm not going to read a book, but I'm going to read a piece of poetry that I wrote the other day that I really like. So yeah, let's do that first. Eyes closed. The tender caress of a lover's touch on bare skin. The movement is poetry. Its verse is a psalm. Its pace metered out by 2 beating hearts. Eyes open. I turn to see the light of your soul, captured in a soft smile. It's all that remains of a hard day now faded. With a quiet sigh, you lean into me. In the silence, our bodies speak. You say, I know you'll catch me if I fall. I blush at this faith, even though it makes my heart tremble. I pull you close to me, and we sway. Gently to the sounds of the seasons, the cycles, the blood in our veins. This moment, our union, is the meaning of it all. Here we feel the presence of spirit, both sacred and fleeting, beautiful and scarred. This is the rhyme and the reason, the force of creation where light and darkness through harmony are one. A single moment in time to live, to dream, to believe in love. So yeah, it's nothing special. My reading didn't really do the work justice. But it was something kind of nice that I did the other day, so thought I would share it. Okay. Okay. You'll have to overlook me. I've done this so many times now, trying to get back in that headspace of that initial moment of turning over the card. Therein, your beginning card here, your status card, is the question. And the intuitive message that came through the first time I turned this card over was speaking very loudly about the figure here in the card staring off toward this rainbow. So it presents this sentiment of sort of being called toward fantasy or some type of romanticism, or to some degree, being distracted by something that may or may not be illusion. Another strong intuitive message that came through with this card is this whole notion of being at a crossroads, of needing to make a choice. Um, and there's some things to balance there because, like I said, on the one hand, you've got a lot of fantasy, a lot of potential for illusion. And on the other hand, you have sort of this path that has been traveled. So yeah, this is all about a question, and there's a lot of illusion um, involved. I think I've gone hoarse from doing this readings like 5 times. You're looking at close to like 4+ hours of redoing this. We're gonna get through it, hopefully. I should have showed the card. Sorry about that. There we go. As I said, it's the question. Okay, your challenge card here is the Sorcerer. Immediately when I turn this card over, I'm getting this intuitive feeling. To some degree, it deals with roots of something being deep and ancient. There's a lot of regret to some degree coming through with this card. It's about something that occurred in the past, a decision that you made, is what I'm getting from the card. And there's some remorse and some bitterness, sort of, like that's been held on to a degree, and may potentially be causing some problems. Therein, the intuitive message coming through with this card is that this is causing an issue here where you're trying to make this decision, you're at a crossroads, and this bitterness and this thing that's in the past, it's having an effect on the way you're viewing everything, and quite possibly it's coloring your view, here in this question. There's something to be aware of here. This is your challenge card. As I said, it is the Sorcerer. Okay. Alright, your tool or your utility card here is the Boy. And the intuitive message that came through when I turned this card over, had this card been upright, it would represent sort of this childish playfulness, and a sort of, to some degree, a sort of aloof, kind of light-hearted approach to life and decisions and things like that. This being reversed, there's a very loud message coming through with the card, which speaks to that desire and that attempt to be practical and logical. Basically, your tool card here is saying, don't get too bespelled by whatever it is in your status card here about this question with the rainbow. This tool card is saying, try to be logical, try to be attentive. It's also speaking very loudly to this notion of beware and be watchful for certain signs that are there, involving this decision, this situation. There are some things that are standing out very vibrantly, but you may or may not be choosing to see them. So this card is speaking directly to that. Also, there's this shrouded figure in the background of this card. It speaks, I think, back to the Sorcerer card because it beckons to the past, something that happened, and this card is sort of speaking to that and saying, you went through something before, and obviously you missed something or something was overlooked, and so this card is trying to say, don't repeat those same habits. There's sort of a watchful eye in the background of this card, and it's coming through very strongly. So yeah, definitely this is about being attentive, and as I said, not being bespelled by the way things may appear. Appearances can certainly be deceiving. So yeah, your tool card is the Boy. Alright. Okay. Your outcome card, potential outcome card here, is the Faerie of Growth. Therein, first time I turned this card over, the strong intuitive message that came through speaks to the way this card is designed in the sense that this character is very isolated. I do get a lot of positive, elements to the figure itself and what the card represents. However, this is speaking to some degree, a path that you're going to have to walk, that's going to require some level of solitude, or the outcome deals with solitude to a degree, but you're going to find a lot of strength in that solitude. You will grow from the process, but not only will you grow, this is going to be a blossoming of potential here with this card. So it's a really positive outcome card all in all, but as I said, that solitary element of the card, I mean, it was really loud when I first turned it over. So definitely I think that's an important element. And as I said, it is the Faerie of Growth. Okay. Alright, your personal card here is the Queen of Hearth and Home. The intuitive message that came through with this card when I turned it over originally, it's very loudly speaking to a sort of an unmasking. Um, there again, depending on your approach to this situation, if you decide to use this tool card and its approach, you may very well find some truth to the illusion. You may see those signs that I talked about a minute ago. That was the loudest message that came through with this card, was the unmasking of illusion. Also, though, I mean, somewhere, between the original recording of the reading and, say it like number two or number three, there was another message that came in with this card, that this may very well be speaking to a person, like someone that you know, someone in your life. Um, and so, in a sense, it's representing unmasking them. Which, considering the rest of the reading, I think that's a positive thing, because, as I said, you're getting to the truth. So, yeah, Queen of Hearth and Home. As usual, I will show you the card, and as I always say, definitely take your time, look at the image closely. Because this is your personal card, there will be something in it that will speak directly to you. If you open yourself up to it, you may very well have a moment of insight, where you see something clearly. So yeah, and as I usually say, if you have any issue seeing the image of the card, let me know via messenger or email, and I have no problem sending you a picture of the card. It's not an issue. So yeah, all in all, I mean, I think it's a fairly positive reading. Like I said, I mean, you've got some utility there. I do think there's room for a positive outcome. It's just a matter of, as we talked about with your status card here, being careful not to get lost in a fantasy or a dream world. Being attentive, keeping your eyes open. Also, too, working with this, whatever it is, this resentment, this old thing from the past that's causing some problems. You got to be attentive to how that's coloring your view of whatever it is that's going on now. So yeah, another, as I usually say, if you have any further questions about your reading or concerns, certainly let me know. I don't have a problem looking into it further as far as doing another reading. So yeah, this first reading was from my friend Alicia. I'm going to take a moment and then I'll move on to the next one, which is for my friend Mystic. So put these back. Be put back in the deck in sort of random order. But yeah, while I'm taking a moment here, I'm just going to reiterate, for those of you who have never seen any of my videos before, this is not at all the way that I read these oracle cards. It just so happened that I did the original reading and the recording messed up, and so I'm basically just reiterating what happened during the first reading. If you really want to get a glimpse of how I read these cards, definitely go back and watch one of the older videos. To sort of get a sense of what that's like. I do hope to do more readings in the future. I don't know when. I'm not on any kind of schedule, so that's sort of hit or miss, but definitely I hope to be doing some more in the future. Okay. Yeah, as I mentioned a minute ago, like uh, during version 2 and 3 of doing these readings, I talked a lot about, for me at least, when I'm using these cards and doing these oracle readings, like there's a lot of energy play, and that's a great part of it, and it's one of the reasons why I love doing it. At the same time, over an extended period of time, it can get a little exhausting. It can be very draining. So yeah, I'm a little out of it, but just a part of the process. Um, on another side note, while we're taking a moment here, for those of you who don't know, this coming Tuesday, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a full moon. So if you're a pagan or a practicing witch, or you just want to be out in the full moon, like that's an opportunity to go out and do a ritual, or just sort of be in nature, in a unique experience. So definitely keep an eye on that. If that speaks to you. Go ahead and lay these cards out. Okay. Right. So that's not right. Sorry. This card was originally reversed in the original reading, and I just misplaced it when I laid it there. But your status card here is the shapeshifter. Um, the initial intuitive message that came through very strongly when I turned the card over. It's speaking to a place where you're feeling to some degree rigid. You're sort of stuck in place. Also, it's talking about there's a desire for some kind of very specific change, whether it's like a change in career, or you want to move somewhere else, or you want a new partner. Like there's something that you want, and it's not happening at the rate that you think it should, or it's not, like you've got some desire and there's some problems there because it's not manifesting quickly enough for you. And that is really the heart of what came through intuitively with this shapeshifter card being reversed. Yeah, shapeshifter. Oh, and before I forget, this second reading also incorporates dice. So let me I'll do this this disclaimer yet again. Normally, I don't use dice in my readings, but sometimes I'll get an intuitive message, and it's very loud and clear, and it's like you need to do the dice with this. The last time that happened, I did the dice, and there was also a message that came through with that saying the numbers that come from these dice are going to be like breadcrumbs. They're going to help to lead this person to some information that they need outside of the reading, but interconnected at the same time. Um, with this reading, I did not get that latter message of the dice being breadcrumbs. It was actually very different. What came through was that the two numbers, turned out two numbers. The two numbers from the dice are very important to you for some reason. The message wasn't clear about what that reason was, but the message basically said, like, these numbers will resonate with you. When you hear them, you'll realize what it is, or if you think about it a little bit, it'll become very clear. So yeah, the two numbers for the dice was 4 and 2. There again, I wasn't told that this was supposed to be a specific order as far as how they would fall, and so it could be 2 and 4, it could be 4 and 2. I mean, those combinations will mean something to you, but yeah, I wanted to remember to include that. So 2 and 4. Card's not ready yet. Okay. That wasn't termed correctly either. Okay, your second card here, your challenge card, is the Speaker of Truth, and the intuitive message that came through with this card was layered. The first bit of it was about falling, but not actually physically falling. It's more of sort of an emotional and quite possibly sort of an ethical, like, falling. It's a transition of wisdom, where it speaks to doing something and then looking at it afterward and being like, oh crap, I didn't really mean to do that, or there's some kind of inconsistency there with what you believe is right and wrong, or good or bad. And this challenge card is talking about some type of circumstance where something like that occurred. There's some potential there. Also, this card really speaks to falsehood. Kind of going back to that other reading, there's some type of illusion going on, and it could be, a falsehood that you're telling yourself. Another element of this is sort of two-faced in a way. I very got this sort of duality from this card of, when you look at it reversed like this, it's almost like there could be more than one face to this figure. So that was another part of the element. But definitely, as I said, this is about illusion and falsehood, lack of truth. That rings very loud and true with this challenge card. So there's some issues here. Yeah, Speaker of Truth. Okay. Card's not ready yet. Okay. Yeah. All right. Your tool card here is the Magician. Yet again, it's another reverse card. The intuitive message that came through very clearly when I turned this card over is, it goes back to this, deception card here. It's all about being genuine, being sincere and honest, and cutting through that BS. There again, this magician figure in this card is dressed very elaborately. It's very showy, and it puts off this sort of aura of, either being false to the self, as in like telling yourself that you are something, or that you're going to be able to do something, or there's some self-deception there, or it could also be about, presenting a certain kind of aura or energy or persona out into the world, and there being a lot of falsehood there. And this card is saying your tool, your way through these problems is to be very honest and very sincere. There again, either with the outside world or with yourself. Very, very critical here, coming through with this card. So yeah, the Magician. Okay. All right. Your potential outcome card here is the Lady of Song. There again, it's another reverse card. The intuitive message that came through with this card is all about the way this figure is posed in the card, and the message that's coming through here. This figure is staring off into the distance toward this star that's very far away. It's in the corner of the card here, but she's almost sort of dreaming about it or lamenting for it or over it. There again, this possible outcome card here, because it's reversed, it's talking about giving up that dream or that falsehood and finding a place where you're very centered. Like you're not reaching out to the world for this thing that may be unattainable. It's really about being very grounded, very true, and genuine to the self. I get a lot of self-love out of this outcome card. Another thing too, the wings on the figure in this card, they're painted and drawn in such a way that there's a lot of movement, a lot of chaos, really, the way it's done. And with it being reversed here, I get that very grounded and centered, sort of calm. So I think this is a beautiful outcome card. There again, I say potential outcome card because the way I do these readings, basically, these outcome cards are a reflection of a situation and how it might unfold if you choose to use your tool card, whatever that approach is. So that's the interconnectedness of the outcome card. I do believe, we as human beings have potential to change, the stream or the current of our life, however you want to word that. So, I don't like trying to do readings where it's like, oh, this is a finite, outcome no matter what. I don't really believe in that personally. But yeah, that's why I put that there. Okay. Part's not ready yet. Okay. Now let's go and try to set it up. Your personal card here for this reading is the Remembrance, and the intuitive message that came through really, really loudly. I mean, this is one of the loudest cards out of the entire reading. There's a sadness to this card, a very sort of somber sadness. There's a lot of regret in this card. This card also, when it came through, when I turned it over, I had this extremely strong impression that it was an omen in a way. This card is showing up. I'm getting cold chills right now talking about this card. That's how much energy is still in it, and how powerful and important this part of the reading is. Like I said, coming through to me, this card is an omen, and it's speaking to the rest of this reading and saying, you know, there are some things that happened in the past, and there was a lot of sorrow and sadness and regret because of it. And this card is showing up to say, don't forget that, and let that sort of be a guiding light for the situation that's going on now. Let it help to inform your decisions so that you don't make some of the same decisions and find yourself in the same place. This card is saying, avoid me, you know, like don't make those same mistakes. So yeah, as I always say, definitely, you know, I'm going to show you the card here. Take your time, look at the image closely. There will be something in this image that speaks directly to you because it's your personal card. So, yeah, there again, definitely take a moment, look at it, and see if, you know, see what insight unfolds. As I said before, if you have any trouble seeing any of the images of the cards, definitely let me know. I will send you a picture of them. And if you have any further questions about your reading, let me know. I don't mind going further into it, you know, if you feel like you need more help. It's certainly not a problem. Overall, though, I think, you know, this is a really good reading. There again, I think this is a very positive outcome card. You know, like we said, being centered, being grounded. And there's a lot of strength. There's, I'm getting a lot of independence in this card, you know, sort of reaching this place where it's like, I'm okay, even though, you know, I've gone through some things or whatever, like I've just found some inner strength here in this outcome card, you know, that's really meaningful and empowering. So yeah, I think that's great. Like I said, with the Magician card here as your tool, with it being reversed, it's all about being truthful and genuine. You know, utilizing that, seeing the value of it, and trying to put that into practice. So yeah, my fifth or sixth time of saying this, I think that's about all I've got for this reading. You know, like I'm probably forgetting something. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna cut it here. It's getting late, and I have some things to do. Some things to do before going to bed. So yeah, that's that. But definitely, thanks for watching. I hope these readings helped. If you're new to the channel, certainly subscribe if you're interested. And there again, if you're new, go back and see some of the older videos. That way you'll actually get a view of how I read, because it's not like this at all. So yeah, I don't know when I'll be posting the next video, but I hope you're all well. I wish you well, and I will speak with you hopefully soon. Take care.